Just when you thought it couldn't get worse, it did. What a disgrace. This team's a disgrace. Absolute disgrace. Just awful. Bad. Everything should be on the table in terms of coaching movement, player movement, like firing everyone on the coaching staff. I think would be accepted at this point. Like if we just did it middle of the season, right? Would anyone complain about that? Would anyone? Well, we can't make trades. I was gonna say, like literally, you could trade everyone on this team, and I wouldn't care. You can cut everyone on this team, and I wouldn't care. Because I do think part of the problem is some of the guys that are still here from when Tomlin's been the coach for all this time. You know what I mean? Like we just need clean start everywhere, from Tomlin to the players that were drafted and developed under Tomlin to the players that Tomlin's bringing in free agency on these 1 or 2 year deals, these aging veterans. Like it's just time to move on from everyone. It's bad, man. It's bad. Now we know that's not happening, but would anyone be against it at this point? Like no one would be against it. I don't think anyone would have been against it at the end of last year. Like my God, it's terrible. It's just, if you're a bad team, you're a mediocre team, you find ways to lose. Because that's the sad part about all this. We were up 7-3 after the first half, going into halftime. We were up 7-3. Defense actually was playing halfway decent. They were getting killed in time of possession, and we were still giving up a lot of chunks in the running game. But they were timely, had a couple picks, got pressure on Josh Allen, made him flustered, got a couple stops on third down. Like the defense actually was kind of decent in the first half, only giving up 3 points. Wasn't perfect, but and then the offense got the 7 off the turnover. Offense throughout the whole game was just god awful. Respect Rodgers for playing in the game because Rappaport had a tweet on like the Sunday morning game day show. Or I guess he didn't tweet it on the Sunday morning game day show, but it was around the time when, the pregame shows are going on. It was early morning, 10, 11 o'clock or something. Tweeted out that Rodgers is dealing with like multiple fractures in his wrist. Like it's actually worse than what was being led on, but he was pushing hard to play in that Bears game and obviously pushed hard to play in this one. And there was some sort of pain every time he would take a snap. So that's why he wasn't taking any snaps under center, which I think in turn limited the offense a little bit because obviously we weren't dynamic enough with the whole pistol and having Rodgers do all these plays out of the shotgun. It's bad, man, but you respect Rodgers for playing and having the fight to be out there at age 41, about to be 42, accomplish everything in his career that you would ask for as a quarterback. Still wanted to play out there, be out there for the guys, gut it out. Like you respect that, but it really didn't do much for us. And you can make the argument it hindered our offense in this game. But it's not all on Rodgers either because receivers aren't getting open. We know that management and how we've handled this roster has done a huge disservice to Rodgers and whoever's playing quarterback out there with our lack of weapons and lack of receiver. It's bad, bro. You could even maybe argue we've done a disservice to Arthur Smith, but I don't think Arthur Smith was the one that was against these multiple tight end sets. We know that's his bread and butter. So us trading for Johnny Smith, that was probably more of an Arthur Smith thing. Because I was going to say maybe Arthur Smith's only working with what he got. You could say that, but I think he was not against the multiple tight end sets and trying to do the ground and pound and play bully ball with this offensive unit going into the season. So yeah, he's part of the problem too. You could definitely say there's just no offensive vision, man. Just absolutely no offensive vision with this team, which is something that's pretty much mandatory in the NFL for 2025. I like that we took the swing with seeing if Rodgers could still do it to a high level, change some personnel on defense, make some moves, but we see what it is. We see what our ceiling is. No matter what quarterback changes, no matter what roster changes, coaching changes happen, Mike Tomlin's still at the helm. We're just going to be non-losing season champions, and that's in jeopardy this year. I think you can argue after this game, that is very much in jeopardy because where do we go from here? Does anyone have any hope that we're going to rattle off some wins? Go on a little run? Not even just go on a run. We need to win, 3 of these last, is it 5 games? How many more games are left? We're 6-6. Yeah, 5 games left. So we got to go 3-2. Browns, Lions, Ravens twice. What game am I missing? I'm missing a game. Dolphins. Yeah, Dolphins actually are halfway decent now. They're at 5-7. We're 6-6. That's no gimme game that we were talking about it being. Browns actually have a halfway decent defense. They look bad against the Niners today. They only put up 8 points on offense, but that could get a little squirrely if we let it. That would be the one win if you're looking at it from an odds maker standpoint. Outside looking in, you'd say the Steelers will be favored in that game. Probably not favored in any of the other games, though. So the non-losing season champion hats may be out of service by January. By middle of January. These might not even make it. These might not even make it into 2026. Damn, bro. The running game, that's something that we've seen actually do halfway decent this year at times, was awful in this one. Probably partly because we were running everything out of the pistol and shotgun, and we were having predictable formations out there, it felt like, too. The one at the end of the game, well, what the hell was that on 4th and 2? We actually had a chance still, down 2 scores. We're in their zone. We're down by the red zone. And it's 4th and 2. We got Spencer Anderson lined up as a freaking receiver with Darnell Washington out there. I think it was another one of those multi-tight end sets plus a freaking lineman line up at a receiver. Oh, I wonder what we're doing. Yeah, we're going to run the ball. We ran the ball up the middle, and the Bills weren't surprised at that at all. Got stuffed at the line of scrimmage. Turn the ball over. Game over. Game over right there. You see Rodgers disgusted. Just waves the play off right after he hands it off. Just awful. Absolutely awful. Bad team, bro. Like, I don't even know what to say anymore. Like, just bad team. Weird sequence coming out of halftime. Because as I said, we actually didn't look that bad in the first half. Thought it was looking like a win. We get ball coming out of halftime. It's like, all right, we get some points up on the board. Defense keeps playing like this. Maybe we win like 17-10 or something, 17-13. But then the Rodgers fumble for the touchdown. Momentum Bills' favor. Rodgers knocked out with the bloody nose. I thought it was initially going to be he hurt his wrist even more and he was going to be out of the game, but it was just them trying to taper down the bleeding on the nose. And then Mason goes out there, and that's something we could get into because a lot of my buddies are blowing me up in the group chat wondering why Mason's even our backup anymore. Maybe it's time for Will Howard to take over that job. We'll get into that a little bit later. But then Rodgers comes back out with the or after the Mason pick. I'm sorry, the Mason pick. Bills score off that. And yeah, everything's in the Bills' favor, just like in the snap of a finger. That was all within 5-6 minutes of game time. Just crazy. We're up 7-3. Fumble to the house. Mason pick, overthrowing Darnell Washington, which I didn't even think was really an overthrow. I really didn't. I think that was the type of throw you make if you're deciding to throw it to Darnell in borderline triple cover, double coverage, triple coverage, expecting that Darnell would be able to have a vertical of more than 2 inches. Because, I actually don't blame Mason for the throw. I actually don't think the throw was bad, considering the circumstances. But you could argue the decision to make the throw was bad. Borderline triple coverage. Do we need to be making that throw? I mean, Mason does have that type of arm talent. He does have that type of deep ball where he could pull it off. But, yeah, it wasn't the best of decisions there, and he's promptly put back on the bench. Rodgers comes back in, and we get nothing going on offense after that because it's another 3 and out. I think we only had 3 yards or something. What was the stat? -3 yards or 3 yards starting off that second half in the third quarter. Just terrible. And then the Bills time of the numbers are awful in this. If you're looking at numbers that count towards winning football games, Bills time of possession, insane compared to ours. What was it? Yards in the second half, yards in general. I think our yards versus their yards, their rushing yards, they set a record at Acrisure for a visitor with those rushing yards. James Cook and Ray Davis. Josh Allen was getting some on the ground too. Just when you thought it couldn't get worse. Just when you thought it couldn't get worse. Seriously. This game? Like, really, this game? I get Derek Harmon got injured and he was out. Patrick Queen got hurt in the middle of the game. It can't be because of those injuries, all of a sudden, we're allowing other teams to set records on us on the ground. Against us at home. Like, come on, bro. Come on. Derek Harmon can't be that good. Maybe he is, though, because we were missing Derek Harmon for the first, however many games of the season, and our run defense was god-awful then, too. So Harmon goes out in this game, and you see the result there. Maybe you could argue with Patrick Queen being out, our run defense gets a little bit better, but that wasn't really the case. It was just bad all the way around, whether it was Patrick Queen out there or him being out with the injury, the hip injury. I don't know what to say. I really don't know what else to say. Really don't. Zach Frazier, awful snap. Seems like that is a constant with him. He's due for that maybe once or twice a season. He hasn't been able to eradicate that. Well, even after that bad snap, though, we picked up the first down. Oh, man. How about this question? This one, I was talking about me and my friends group chat. This was posed to me by my one buddy. Would you rather win the division this year? No matter how it happens. It could happen in a janky way. It could happen that we win out. Would you rather win the division this year or lose every game? What do you think's best for the Steelers? Because we all know the fan in us. We all know the Steeler diehard in us wants to still win the division. Oh, maybe on a snowball's chance in hell, we can go on a run here in the playoffs, make things exciting. But what's better for our future? What's better for this franchise? What's better for this organization to actually getting back to be contender? Actually, maybe this is the way you put it. Which of those scenarios gives us the better percent chance to getting back to contenders? It's probably the lose every game one. It probably is. It probably is. And that's sad. Man, hold on. Hold on. Yeah, some of you guys are saying that my hat is already expired almost. You guys are saying tank ASAP, lose out. Hold on. There's one of you guys are saying I should change the caption on the hat. All right, tank the season, lose. 9-8 is best for Steelers. It's best for business. It's best for my hat business. I don't know if it's best for Steelers. It's definitely not best for Steelers. Definitely not. I think the two scenarios I just posed to you guys, winning out and making the playoffs, winning the division, or just winning the division in general, I guess. That or losing out. Those are actually the best two scenarios. The worst is 9-8, 10-7, missing the playoffs or making the playoffs and getting trounced in the first round. That's probably the worst. Because losing out, you get a better draft pick, better draft picks. Because we definitely got a boatload here for this 2026 draft coming up in Pittsburgh. Now, some of them are going to be determined by other teams, and I think also compensatory picks and all that stuff. But we're going to have a better – wait, we lost – we don't have a second-round pick this year. My God. I was going to say, if you're picking in the top 10 in the first round, that means you're picking in the top 10 in the second round. It's not just one pick. You have a multitude of good picks whenever your record's like 6-11 or something like that. But we don't have our second-round pick with DK. We're going to have a bunch of third-round picks, fourth-round picks, compensatory selections because of who we lost in free agency. But, geez, oh, man. Yeah, give me some new slogans, maybe. We might need a new hat at the end of the season. If you want the hat too, link should be in description. I tried posting a comment in the chat. I don't even think it's hyperlinked, but it's deek/merch.store. Let me post another comment. I don't know how to pin this. Here, I'll show it to you guys. Go ahead. No, that's not it. A lot of comments in here. Shout out to everyone that's in the chat. Chat's jumping on me all over the place. There's the link if you want the hat. Caveat too, disclaimer, it's not the exact hat I have on. This one's a trucker. The hat that you'll be getting is the same style, A-frame, snapback, all that stuff. So I just want to give you guys a heads up on that. And I actually haven't got the samples for the hats just yet. But if you feel like the message needs to be in your hands, non-losing season champions, if the message needs to be in your hands sooner rather than later, and want to take a chance on not seeing the sample just yet, go ahead, because I mean it's going to be a decent quality hat. I just haven't seen it in person just yet. My sample is going to be coming in early next week, but that's the again, the disclaimer, the caveat with that link right now. I don't have to get to the whole side. You guys heard me on the video. I made this hat at Lids, impromptu, wore it on one of the shows. I was like, maybe I'll do merch. Let me know if the market's there. And you guys went crazy in the comments. So I was just trying to figure out the best, most efficient way to get hats like this out to you guys. And this is the approach that was the best. Definitely. It's going to be shipped right to you. It's definitely going to be there before Christmas. Should be there 5 to 10 days. I ordered my sample middle of last week, and I should be getting it early this week coming up. I think latest Wednesday. Get them in the white, get them in the Pittsburgh gold. So there's my little pitch for the hats right there. Let's get back to talking ball. Mediocre world champions, 15 years. Okay, yeah. That's like a past tense type of slogan. We don't have to really, if Tomlin got fired, we wouldn't have to worry about anything changing that going forward. Because this hat, we might be cooked, bro. We might be cooked. I could move the champions to the side and put like non-losing season champions from like 07 to, what would it be, like 2025? Maybe I could do that. It's like the year stretch that we were non-losing season champions under Tomlin. Because you saw the stat posted today. It's like, yeah, we're in the history books. We're tied for first with consecutive non-losing seasons. And even some of those years were Cowher's years after he drafted Ben. But it's like, that's not the standard, bro. There's something to be said for that. Sure, but that's not the standard. That's not what you get up for as a Steeler fan. That's not what you get excited about. Like maybe for a 2-year stretch, a 3-year stretch where you're in a rebuild mode or you're trying to figure some things out, you're in between quarterbacks, or maybe, your defense is undergoing an overhaul. They got old, like kind of we did back in, like 2012, 2013, 2014. Our defense got old. We were bringing in new pieces. I think we went like 8-8 for 2 seasons in a row. It's like, okay, still not cool, but we could be a little patient here as long as we can get back on track, which we did with the Killer Bees to an extent. But then looking back on all that, it's just like, I don't know. Did we really have a chance? Did we really have a chance with those defenses? Like, my God. My God. All right, let me read some more of these comments here. Actually, let's get to some of the paid comments. There was one slogan I wanted to pull up. It was pretty funny. I lost it. But I appreciate the commentary. I appreciate the engagement in the chat right now. Shout out to everyone here. Tiger 6926. Thank you for the couple bucks here. 199 says heads got to roll for this loss. Well, I said it at the beginning of the show. Would anyone complain if we absolutely cleaned house tomorrow and fired the whole coaching staff? No, I don't think anyone would. No. If we got to do the scapegoat thing, Taro Austin, that's an easy one. Fire coordinator, middle of the season. That was something we talked about before the Canada firing that the Steelers never do. They always let coaches on their staff play out their contract, and then they'll decide whether to pick it back up again and extend you at the end of the season, or they'll just let you walk. Because they did that with Randy Finkner too. But with Matt Canada, actually fired in the middle of the season. No one thought it was actually going to happen. And that's when the offense was at an all-time low in terms of like yards gained, points put up, all that stuff. We actually did have a winning record though at the time because of some of the Kenny game-winning drives, but it was still bleak. It was still looking really bad for the offense. So if we could let Canada go at that stage in the game, of a middle of a regular season, after this performance with the defense and how we've seen some of these defensive performances this year, what's to say we can't fire Terry Ross? I mean, we already talked about it being warranted, like, what was it, 4 or 5 weeks ago after the Bengals Thursday Night Football loss? So it's more than warranted now. I think that would be a shakeup that the Steelers could do here. I mean, that would be the extent of it, though, right? Like, we don't expect Tomlin, the whole coaching staff, to actually get fired, but that would be a move. That would be a move to look out for. What does it actually do, though? With Tomlin still being here and him obviously still having his hands on the defense to a certain extent, who knows? But it would be worth a try. It definitely would be worth a try because this defense is historically bad for the last, like, 2 decades. It's like one of the worst Steeler defenses in the franchise's history. You could look up the numbers. There's metrics and all that stuff out there. But it was supposed to be the best coming into it. It was supposed to be one of the best. We were rated like the best defense in Madden coming into the season. All the trades that took place, Tomlin saying this is going to be a historic defense. He was right. I mean, it's historically bad, unfortunately. With the money that we spend on defense, with the names that we got there, that's the thing too. We don't have a team. That's one of my thoughts that I had during the course of this game. We don't have a team. We have names. We have a bunch of names. We don't have a team. This isn't a team. There's not a togetherness with this team. We thought there was beginning of the season, but just like the last 4 or 5 years, you could argue last 7, 8 years, last decade, it all comes apart at the end, and it's just all smoke and mirrors. It's not really a contending team. It's not really a team that's together and for each other and is willing to really go out of their way for each other and you know what I mean? Win the tough game, win the competitive games and show 100% effort week in and week out. Have that type of consistency. Have that type of accountability. Like, this is the type of stuff that we bring up when you're talking about the 70 Steelers, those 2000 Steelers that won Super Bowls. We haven't seen that in a minute with these Steeler teams. Jose, hey, we need a wide receiver too next year. And when does 25 come back? We need a wide receiver too this year. We've needed a wide receiver too for the last, like, 2 or 3 years. Had Pickens. Pickens was right. I was wrong. Pickens was right for wanting to get out of here. Yep. When does 25 come back? I think he's out for the rest of the season. I saw a report today that he said he was definitely going to be, back for next year, which I think hinted at him being done for this season. I don't think that makes a difference either. Is anyone thinking like Jalen Ramsey or Kyle Duggar are the problems with this defense? No. It's the front seven and the defensive line giving up all those rushing yards. Secondary has been helter-skelter for sure throughout this season. But they've picked it up recently, and this game wasn't the secondary got exposed type of game. And I mentioned it coming into this matchup. First order of business for the defense is stop the run. I get that the Bills have Josh Allen. He's all world and everything. But he doesn't have, like, great weapons. There's a reason Brandon Cooks off the street was getting some snaps this game and actually getting targeted. They don't have much going for them whenever Josh Allen passes the ball. He's got to make things happen by escaping the pocket. Dudes will be running scramble drills, that type of stuff. Josh Allen will put on the Superman cape. But if it's the Bills' preference, they would like to run the ball and make it easy for Josh Allen because they have a James Cook. And that's exactly what they did in this one. Josh Allen only threw for like 120, 130 yards. He was pretty efficient in the second half with it. But we did all right in the first half containing him, getting the pressure on him, getting some pass deflections. We got the pick with Brandon Echols. We did all right. But then Bills just kept running the ball. We couldn't stop it. And their offense continued to heat up, and they were in a flow state. Raccoon 89-11. Thanks for the couple bucks. 4th and 2, and we run it. Someone needs to be fired. Yeah, I already talked about that. And it was the formation too. Not only did we run it, but it was the fact that we had Spencer Anderson as a receiver there. Automatically a tell that Spencer Anderson isn't a real receiving threat. Automatically a tell. This is more likely going to be a run than not. Aaron Rodgers is already limited He's in the pistol. Like, what was that? Who came up with that play design, formation, all that stuff? Who thinks that's a good idea? Who? I guess Arthur Smith. So he's not coming out of this scotch-free either, for sure. For sure. And we talked about that earlier. Like, I think he's part of the reason why we have some of this heavy personnel and multiple tight end sets. We're too predictable. We're behind the times. Luke Wilcox, 541. Feel bad for the fans who spend money to go sit in the cold and watch this circus. I was hearing there was some Fire Tomlin chants in the crowd. Heard that, and we booed Renegade. We actually have hit the point where we're booing Renegade. You're not really going to hear a complaint from me on either of those two things. I talked about how Renegade lost its aura after Sunday Night Football against the Packers. I was at that game. They played Renegade, and it was just like a joke. Wait, Daddy, we need to tank for a better draft pick. Why not? That's not going to happen, but going back to the question, is tanking, is losing out going to be better for the Steelers? Is that going to give us a better percent chance to become actual contenders again than somehow going 9-8, 10-7, winning the division and making the playoffs? Probably. I don't think it's a bad thought. Red Nanaki, can we please fire Tomlin? Might happen at the end of the season. It might actually happen at the end of the season. It might. Not having midseason. I don't think there's any way. Still 6-6, tied with the Ravens. That type of shit. We could still win the division. There's just no way Rooney's going to be firing Tomlin middle of the season like that. There's just absolutely no way with those things considering. Don't think it would be a bad decision, though. Definitely don't. Chris Arkwright says fire Tomlin. Joshy 1-4-4-5. A wide receiver 2 should be the least of the team's concerns. They can't tackle. That's true, too. Second half, tackling was awful. They can't tackle, can't guard opposing receivers, can't run the ball, only throw it 3 yards every pass. Yep, offense so limited. We don't have an explosive play. We don't have anything explosive about this offense. It's slant routes. It's Rodgers dumping it off to the running backs. Rodgers dumping it off on out routes. The only time we actually did get to see some stuff over the middle and air yards over like 10 or 15 was whenever we were doing the no huddle at the end of the game, and we were down 2 scores, and the chances of us actually coming back to win were already bleak. It was pretty much garbage time. Xavier TG, 1537. No Renegade until we win a playoff game. See, this is the sad part. This is the standard, and Romo even brought it up on the broadcast. This is how far the standard has dropped, where we're just hoping for a playoff win. And we should be satisfied with that. And we could bring Renegade back after a playoff win. It's like, how about after a Super Bowl championship? I wouldn't mind retiring Renegade until we win a Super Bowl. Keep it on the shelf for however long it takes. Because a playoff win, that's no reason to celebrate. It's cool. It is cool. Maybe it is an indicator that you're going in the right direction. If, say, you're the Patriots, right? Say you're a team that's rebuilding. A playoff win can go a long way. Say when we had Kenny for those first couple years. If we got a playoff win, you're thinking, okay, this team's on the right trajectory. Next year they win 2 playoff games or three playoff games, that type of thing. But winning a playoff game with where we're at right now and no vision or no future with this team, what does that do for you, really? What does that do? It would be nice. Trust me, don't get me wrong. I would like to win a playoff game. I would like to have a home playoff game at Acrisure. We win, that type of thing, because you need to win to ultimately get to the Super Bowl. You need to win playoff games. But is that the ceiling? Is that the real ceiling of this team? If that is the ceiling of this team, I'm not interested in that. I'm not. Ultimately, I'm not. We need to get back to contention. Yeah, pretty much. Steelers are screwed. The game was over for the very first play of the second half. Yeah, after Rodgers fumbled and they got that touchdown. Yep, pretty much. The Mason pick really put the nail in the coffin, I feel like. Because when Rodgers came back, I think we would have had a better chance with Mason. I think we would have. Call me crazy. The fact that Mason could go under center and throw the ball down the field. You might be getting a little bit more with him than Rodgers. Now, Rodgers has the veteran savvy. He does the no huddle at the end of the game, but again, it's already too late. You're down 2 scores, and it doesn't really matter like that. Chubb Stewart says everyone in Pittsburgh go protest by the stadium. I'm sure there's some shit going on at the Gold Lots. I'm sure there's some people chanting "Fire Tomlin," saying the standard's mediocrity. I'm sure there's people complaining. I'm sure there are. I'm sure you probably got local news down there asking people for their reaction, and it's going to be similar to what you guys are saying in the comments. I'm sure. Yeah, people are pissed off, man. They are. Skip this one. Sorry. Keep going. We need to draft McKay Lemon next year. I have no clue who that is. I'm sorry. No clue. No clue what position he plays. No clue if he's offense, defense. Sorry. I'll take your word for it. I did say I would get to this. Backup QB. What should we do with that? Ant-Man Wiggle says, Will Howard needs in-game reps. I mean, I'm not opposed. I'm definitely not opposed. But going back to what I was saying about Rooney firing Tom in the middle of the season, it ain't happening. It's not, as long as Rodgers wants to be out there and is playing, it ain't happening. I think you could make a legit argument if Rodgers is hurt, can't go, we bench Rodgers or something, then the next man up should be Will Howard. So we could see what he's got potentially for the future. My concern would be, though, would we be ruining Will Howard's development with the coaching staff and the offense that we have in place? Almost like we did with KP8. Kind of what we did with Mason. Would we be hurting his development by getting him these in-game reps? That would be my concern, honestly. Would it be better for Will Howard to maintain his spot on the roster going into 2026? We overhaul the coaching staff, bring in a new head man, new offensive scheme, all that stuff, and Will Howard gets a fresh start that way. Although he doesn't come off as a guy that his confidence will be shot if there's some rough patches, because he had some rough patches in college. Benched at Kansas State, came back stronger for it. Kansas State moves off of him for, who was that? Is it Avery Johnson? They move off of him for Avery Johnson. He goes to Ohio State, wins the national championship. Loses to Michigan. At Ohio State. Goes on an epic playoff run. So if there is a dude that's built for adversity, maybe it is Will Howard. So I'm not opposed to seeing him. I'm not, what's that point? It's going to be whenever we're mathematically eliminated, probably. Maybe if we go 6-8, maybe if we're 6-8, maybe it's time to get Will Howard out there for the last 3-4 games. But I just don't see it happening with us still being tied with the Ravens. I think we're below them, though, based off tiebreakers. Tied for the AFC North, 6-6, us and the Ravens. Everything's still in front of us in terms of winning the division. Future's in our control. The relationship Rodgers and Tomlin have, the respect that they have for each other, there's no way. There's no way. It's not happening. Would it be a bad call? I don't think so. No, I think it's something to start thinking about, though. But I think we're going to fight till the bitter end on this type of shit right here, being non-losing season champions. We're gonna fight to the bitter end to go 9-8, 10-7, maybe make the playoffs. You respect it. I guess you can appreciate that mentality, but what good is it actually doing the franchise? What good is it doing the organization? Obviously not much. It's probably hurting us, if anything. Official Momentum, what's up, bro? Thanks for the couple bucks. We need change. Also, Ambition was at Stage AE. Oh, that's dope, bro. Man, you're even fed up. You're even fed up. You're saying we need change. Exclamation mark, too. All right, let me get to more of these here. Xavier TG says, I remember you liked Mason. Slander Deke. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think Mason's good. It's solid for what he is, backup quarterback. thought he had maybe a little bit more of a ceiling than what he showcased this year based off of his 2023 season with us. But I don't mind Mason. I don't. I think he'll always be remembered fondly among Steeler Nation because of that 2023 season and how we had our backs up against the wall. He was constantly getting his nuts kicked throughout the course of his Steelers career, overlooked, passed by Kenny and Mitch Trubisky. He's just bottom of the depth chart. Our seasons going to shit, 7-7. All right, we just throw Mason out there on Christmas Eve or day before Christmas Eve, December 23rd. And we go on a run. We end up going on a run. Offense looked the best that it did all that season in that game and the consequential games after that with Mason as the starter. So, I think he's always going to get a thumbs up from Steeler Nation. But maybe is it time to get Will Howard some snaps over Mason just because of Will Howard's age and what his potential could be versus where Mason's at in his career? I think there's definitely an argument for that. Absolutely. I wouldn't be opposed to that. Xavier TG, the Panthers would spank us, play Will Howard. Well, they beat the Rams. They just beat the Rams. So I don't know if that's something to be necessarily mad about. I would be mad about us getting smoked by any team and losing by like 30 or 40 if that's what you're insinuating there, no matter what team it is, because that's just a bad look. That's embarrassing. But Panthers might actually be a halfway decent team. Price Elves. We were doomed. Thanks for the $5 too. We were doomed after the stadium and name change. Stop caring about the culture. Got to lose out. Clean house. Trade Watt. Getting good at wasting talent. Not a bad way to put it right there. Not a bad way to put it. So I didn't see today's game. You're saying Bryce Young is balling. I don't think he's that good. I don't. This is an interesting one. Bengals somehow backdoor the division. I think they got to win out, right? They would definitely have to win out. I don't know if they would need help from Steelers, Ravens losing a certain amount, but they are kind of still like you saw them smack the Ravens on Thanksgiving with Joe Burrow being back. They are a threat. They definitely are. And we talked about that on the last show. Where would you rather be as an organization, as a setup or a situation, right? The Bengals, what they got, franchise quarterback, elite receivers, that roster, that coaching staff, or what the Steelers got right now? Sad to say, I think it's the Bengals because you have a franchise quarterback that's going to be top 4 or 5 at the position for the next 4 or 5 years, maybe even 7 to 8 if he can stay healthy. Now, that's a question mark with Joe Burrow, but I think his injuries are a little bit fluky. There's not one recurring injury. There's not one chronic injury with him where it's the same thing over and over. It's like a hand injury while he's throwing the football, turf toe, the ACL. That was in his rookie year, but obviously he's bounced back fine from that. Mobility's still there for him. He's been, when healthy, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. What is this? Xavier TG 1537. I'm talking about college team, Pitt Panthers. Hold on. What were you referring to? Oh, Pitt Panthers. That's not true. I'm sorry. That's not true. No. Did you see Pitt against Notre Dame? Did you see Pitt against Miami? That's not true. I know the point you're trying to make there, but no. No, definitely not. At least say Ohio State, the best team in college football. Say Ohio State for this versus the Steelers. Maybe Ohio State beats us, which I don't think would happen, but that's what it's feeling like with the Steelers team right now. Because I think Ohio State's pretty legit. I mean, Jeremiah Smith, I think that quarterback's legit. But yeah, there's no way a college team's beating a pro team like that. And if it is, it's like the best college team versus the worst pro team. Half the time this season, it does feel like the Steelers are the worst team in the NFL. Like half these games after we lose, we come up, even after a freaking win, some of these wins, we come up in here and act like we're the worst team in the league. But we are 6-6. There are teams that are technically worse based off record, like the Raiders, like the Titans. See, this is a little different. The Ron Hahn says college all-stars beat the 70s Steelers. I think that's a little different. Because in that scrimmage with the Dream Team, the college all-stars beat them back in, when was that? Like 92. Now, they did say that scrimmage was rigged. The Dream Team head coach, who was that Chuck Daly, kind of had the rules slanted in the college team's favor. He was trying to send a message to the Dream Team that, listen, if you don't get your head on straight, maybe you can get beat in a one-and-done scenario. College all-stars beat the 70s Steelers. I don't really know the story behind that, but that's different because if you're taking the college all-stars versus the current Steelers team, maybe that makes it a little bit closer of a game. You get the best quarterback in college. You get Jeremiah Smith, best O-lineman in college. All guys that are going to be first-round picks. I actually would think that's an interesting game. Like if you took literally all the best rookies from this draft class this year, you took like Jackson Dart, Abdul Carter, the top receivers in this draft class. Yeah, maybe it's like if you have a good coaching staff, maybe it's a conversation. Maybe it is. Think of the draft class before last year, the 2024 one. If you took like Drake May coming out, or I guess for that rookie year, Jaden Daniels was the best quarterback. So it's like Jaden Daniels, whoever the best rookie running back is, again, the best offensive lineman, all that stuff. Like, yeah, I think that team would be like a 500 type of team, honestly. Fish Momentum, what's up, bro? $2 says miss you emotes, man. Hashtag the standard is the standard. Yeah, good times with me and Moats in the podcast for sure. But unfortunately, you're right. Standard is the standard, is the standard, is the standard, and that is 9-8, 10-7. Good, but not good enough. But we might even be below standard this year. We might. This might be a losing season. Actually, might. I have to potentially black this non out on this hat, or it just says losing season champions. Yeah, shout out to everyone here, man. Big shout out. We got Degenerate Moneyline dropping a couple bucks. We hire OC of Super Bowl winning teams. Hire 92 for DC. Okay, yeah, just go with that formula. Whatever teams in the Super Bowl, take their offensive coordinator and then hire James Harrison for defensive coordinator. I don't think James Harrison's really trying to coach like that. Here's my thoughts. We whiffed on two of the candidates last offseason. I think moving off of Tomlin and bringing in a Mike Vrabel or a Ben Johnson could have been a move, but they're obviously at their respective teams right now. And I think Brian Flores could still be available. But with Brian Flores, I'm thinking, because he is a defensive coach, not saying that can't work, because you're seeing it with Mike McDonald out with Seattle, a young, innovative defensive coach being the head coach. I think you bring in Brian Flores, as long as he gets an OC and lets them just run the offense, one of the, OCs under the McVay tree, Shanahan tree, one of those guys, and let them just run the offense, Flores overlooking the defense. I think that could be a way to go about the offseason if you're moving on from Tomlin. But I think the other one would be, I'm in the same boat as you. Just get the next offensive guru as your head coach, just like Ben Johnson last year. Or you could go culture guy, proven pretty good head coach in a Vrabel or a Flores. Obviously, Vrabel's not available, missed out on that. But Flores, he could very well be out there this offseason. I don't know. What other guys? I guess John Gruden's being thrown out there. Mike McCarthy. Do we want to go that route? I don't know if we want to go that route. Older head coaches. I think we want like fresh, young, a little bit more innovative. But you can make an argument, offensive guys that are head coaches, they're constantly innovative because you're constantly trying to create. You're constantly trying to be ahead of the curve. Like look at an Andy Reid, a Sean Payton. Older head coaches, but I think because they're on the offensive side of the ball, Colin Cowherd was bringing up this point on one of his shows, and I kind of agree with it. Like Andy Reid's always looking for new plays, how to stay ahead of the curve on the league and offense, all that type of stuff. So that's still having like a young mentality, not being stuck in your ways. Whereas we could argue being stuck in your ways has definitely been prevalent with Mike Tomlin. Jatra 2, Chris Carter Sublimity asked Rodgers if Tomlin is the reason we're losing. Really? Like in the press conference right now after the game? What did Rodgers say? I guess I'm going to have to check that out for tomorrow. Man, shout out to you, though. Shady's Design says, I don't even watch the games anymore, but shout out for being here and listen to the commentary, listen to the reaction, chilling with us. That's pretty dope. You don't watch them, but you still come for the Steelers content. Who you guys thinking in terms of coaches? Mike Munchak as an O-line coach. Yeah, that's a given, but I mean, I don't think anyone would be against that at all. Yeah, that's the thing too. Like, hold on, this is the one up. Yeah, Bills weren't even like doing that well coming into this game. Really, they have Josh Allen. You know, they got a Josh Allen. Really banged up. I mean, they're missing their 2 starting tackles. It seemed like that was affecting them a little bit in the first half, but they made certain adjustments, just played better in the second half. And you would have thought that it was their starting tackles out there for a good portion of the game. I think Andrews Pete did all right for us, though. I think we did all right from an offensive line standpoint. And with us not having Broderick Jones, it looks like he's going to be out for a month. We put him on IR. Defense, no matter who's out there, no matter who's injured, Derek Harmon being out, Patrick Queen missing the middle of the game, Pierre goes out with a concussion. It didn't matter who was in or out. The defense was giving up a ton of yards on the ground. We managed in the first half, got the turnovers, bend but don't break. But yeah, it's just bad, bro. It's bad. Trench made 3-3-0. We need an upcoming coach, somebody new. Yeah, I think you can make an argument for that, for sure. You're talking about Kingsbury. You want Kingsbury as the head coach? Listen, I think anything we throw out there could be justified. Like if we're talking Kingsbury, even though he didn't do his best with the Cardinals, John Gruden, he hasn't won his Super Bowl since like 2001 or something. But he actually low-key did halfway decent with the Raiders when he was there for like those 2 or 3 years. Weren't they around like 500? Mike McCarthy has pretty much the same resume as Tomlin. Like, I don't know if I'm as gung-ho about those guys coming in here, but just doing something else can be justified. Making the argument just for doing something else, no matter who it is. Just trying something different. Even if it's not going to be the most exciting move, we just have to try something different. And if that doesn't work, then you try something different again until you get something that works. Because this ain't it. Like, we know this ain't it. You can't just be stuck in this purgatory. You can't just be putting your head in the sand, putting your head in the ground, and just ignoring that we're not going to hit our ceiling. We're not going to be contenders with the status quo. So are we just settling for mediocrity? Are we just settling for 9-8, 10-7, and saying that's good enough? That's not the Steelers I want to be a fan of. That's not the Steelers I know. That's not the Steelers' real standard. Any other points? Any other thing I'm missing here? Yeah, we're getting to that point. Dusty Ray Gun's about to be 9 seasons without a playoff win. Sometimes it's not that deep. It's not that complicated. A fresh start could be needed. Tomlin is, I think Romo was talking about, he's going to go down as a Hall of Fame coach. The winning percentage, the total wins throughout the course of his career, all that stuff's there. The numbers are there. He has a Super Bowl. He's going to be a Hall of Fame coach, but sometimes things just run their course, become stale, and it's time to move on. Both sides need a fresh start. Not that deep. Not that deep of a statement to make. Not that complicated. And I think we're witnessing that right now with the Steelers and Mike Tomlin. I said at the end of last year, a bunch of you guys were saying it before that. A bunch of you guys, I feel like we're ahead of the curve. But I think we're officially at that point right now. We've been at that point over the last year and a half, 2 years. Happened with the Penguins, and Penguins had more recent big success compared to the Steelers. We won 2 cups in 16, 17, 17, 18. I don't know the exact years, but wasn't that long ago. Now, Sullivan, did he have a couple losing records in his last few seasons? Either way, like it's the same thing. It was like the Penguins for the last like 2-3 weeks of the season. We're fighting for a playoff spot. We didn't make it, but it's like they were still relevant. And we moved off Sullivan. And this new guy seems to definitely be doing some good things. Seems to definitely know his stuff. He got the Penguins heading in the right direction this year. We're supposed to be tanking. Might make the playoffs. Looking like we're going to make the playoffs. Yeah, this is becoming a constant talking point now, too. Not only is it the same constant talking points of the offense is too conservative, lackluster, the defense lacks effort, poor tackling, poor schemes, but also DK Metcalf not being enough to be your franchise receiver is become a consistent talking point over the last like month and a half. I feel like saw it again today. Meanwhile, Pickens is absolutely lapping him in production with the Cowboys. And that's the thing too with Pickens. He's not just eating. Hold on, I gotta grab some water here. I got water in this. This is a Grey Goose bottle. I got water in it though. Yeah, it's not just Pickens eating because they have CeeDee Lamb and he's getting open coverage and stuff. No, whenever CeeDee Lamb was out, Pickens was feasting as well. It's just the fact that Cowboys have two dynamic elite receivers down there, and it's benefiting their offense to a great extent. That's not rocket science either in 2025. You see it work with the Eagles, not as much this year. The Eagles are all over the place this year, but over the last 2 or 3 after they traded for A.J. Brown and had Devonta Smith, that helped a lot, right? Having two receivers that you can't really single, you gotta try to figure out some way to cover them and draw a couple corners or a couple people in the secondary to have their eyes on them, and that opens up everything for the rest of your offense. Eagles have accomplished that or have done that successfully with the two receiver, like all-star type of receiver set. Bengals, now you're seeing with the Cowboys. It's like, bro, yeah, wouldn't be the worst thing to have two top 10 receivers on your team. It's not a crime to be an explosive offense. It's not a crime to be throwing the ball 20, 25 yards down the field, 50 yards down the field. Try to get explosive plays. Not a crime, but it seems like the Steelers think that, unfortunately. We had DK and Pickens. We had them both. We had them. And I do wonder, from an on-the-field standpoint, how much a difference that would have made for this season. I do wonder. Now that we're 6-6, and it doesn't seem like locker room chemistry is that good to begin with. Locker room chemistry, vibes, all that stuff is that good. What would have Pickens hurt anyway? I know that's why we got rid of Pickens, but the chemistry and all that stuff is shit. As we sit here 6-6, what harm would have Pickens done? At least he would have given us another target to throw to on the field instead of trying to throw one on a vertical to Calvin Austin in tight coverage. And when he's 5'7", trying to see over the defender's head to get it. I mean, it was a good throw by Rodgers. But Rodgers, if we're going to talk about Rodgers, his game, like he just didn't play good. He didn't play good either. He was missing stuff. Obviously, there's some miscommunication. You saw it with Johnny Smith at the end of the game. You saw it with Roman Wilson. Miscommunication, but he wasn't sharp either. Kenneth Gainwell saved his ass on the one little out route on the swing to Kenneth, and he made, 15, 20 yards with that down the field. I think we scored a touchdown on that drive too. I really don't know. This question asked Deke, who would you want to replace Tom? I don't really have a strong answer right now. We just need to do something different. I don't. Season ain't over yet, and I don't think Tomlin's getting fired. So I think I'll just get to that when the time comes. Kubiak, I'm seeing from Kevin Gary Wilkes. I don't know. Maybe. He's doing all right with Seattle. He's also had some below average stops as an OC. Wasn't he with the Saints recently? It wasn't that good with him. I know they don't have the best roster. They don't have the best team. I don't know how I feel about that. I do got water in the Grey Goose bar. I promise. Flores, I think that's an option. Yeah, I brought that up. Flores, but he needs to get some sort of innovative OC to run the offense. If we're going to do this, as this commenter suggests here, just give Mason the keys for the rest of the season. Rodgers is not. You might as well just be Will Howard. You might as well. Because maybe Will Howard is in over his skis, but we lose those games, which is, I think, better for us long term. And you get some tape on Will Howard. You get a feel for him. Whereas with Mason, even if Mason would have to go undefeated. If you're doing that, he would have to go undefeated and do a whole 2023 like version 2 of that. And then I still don't even know if you're thinking about him being legit the starter for 2026. Yeah, you'd have to go on a playoff run too. So not only would he have to, how many games we got left? 5 games. You'd have to go 4-1, 5-0, ball out. But then you'd also have to win some playoff games. I don't know if that's happening. I don't know if anyone's set up for success. Rodgers, Mason, or Will Howard. Dude, these receivers ain't getting open. We got too many tight ends out there. It's too conservative. It's not explode. There's just nothing about this offense that feels up to date. 2025 doesn't. So I don't think we'd be doing Will Howard or Mason necessarily a service out there by playing them. I think any quarterback's going to be struggling here on out. Rodgers with that injury. If Rodgers trying to play next week, are we going to do the pistol again? Are we going to do this pistol shotgun shit? He's probably only more banged up after that hit. I don't see it getting better with him, with Mason, or with Will Howard. But maybe you could say with Mason, Will Howard, they have youth on their side. They could provide us something that Rodgers can't right now with his limitations. That's my thought. If you're going to do the Mason thing rest of the season, maybe bench Rodgers or, just put him on IR because of the wrist. Why not Will Howard? Why not give him a shot? Why not? I don't know how much quality assessment we'll be getting on Howard, though, because of how we run offenses and how his surroundings aren't that great. Thanks, bro. Thank you. We got some compliments in the chat here. We got some positivity here. This might be the most positive comment in the chat today. This, and I think just the hats. The hats bring positive vibes too, because I think they're drippy. I think they're swag. He says, "You lost weight, bro. Good shit. What's the routine? You on Ozempic?" No, absolutely not on Ozempic. Not on Ozempic. No, just eating good and lifting some weights, walking a little bit. Yeah, nothing crazy. Nothing crazy. Just being consistent with that. Yeah, you have your day or two off during the week where you eat some junk food here or there, but yeah, I've been consistent on that. The cheat days, I would say, as I've been trying to lose weight, I think it's been probably at this point, what, 2-3 years? Old Deke started to fade away after I got the LASIK 2-3 years ago. As I've been trying to lose weight, my cheat days have gotten less robust for sure. Some of my cheat days would be absolutely disgusting, like McDonald's, Pizza Hut, and Taco Bell all in a day. Just absolutely disgusting. Yeah, John Easton says, you guys forced Ben to retire too early. I tried telling everyone. It wasn't Seven's fault. I think we could say it wasn't KP's fault either. Wasn't Seven's fault. Wasn't KP's fault. Everyone wanted to blame them. Make them the scapegoat for these offenses. Clearly not. We had turnover after them. how much better did we get with Russ and Fields, and how even before Kenny, I guess you could say, with Mitch getting his spot starts, Mason, like it's been all the same. Been all the same. Ben freaking in his final season, people literally didn't know ball at the time. I guess they still don't know ball. I don't know if you still feel this way, at least. Trying to blame 7 for that 2021 Steelers season and how we didn't live up to our potential as an offense and as a team. Anyone that actually knew ball could say that Ben was actually saving that team. The game-winning drives, defense was god awful. Defense, I don't know what defense was worse, that year or this year, honestly, because that was last in the league in rushing yards given up. This year, we're definitely in the bottom half. We're probably like bottom 5 after this game. Yeah, 7 could have played another year or two. We just needed to give him an offensive line. Wasn't that complicated? Instead, we gave him Kendrick Green and Dan Moore. Mr. Snowman FD says, if you did that now, you might ruin Howard. That's my thing. That's my thing. But if we're gonna get a regime change and all that stuff, maybe Howard's just gonna be collateral damage. If we're gonna get a regime change and Howard's not necessarily the new coach's guy, then it might be tough sledding for Howard no matter what. The new coach is gonna want to pick their guy in the draft. Howard, he'll be a competitor with the new guy. He'll be a good guy to have in the quarterback room, but I think every opportunity is gonna be for whoever we take in the first round, most likely. Xavier TG 1537 says Allen would never laugh in 92's face like he did 97. I don't think you're wrong. I don't know what point you're trying to bring up with that. Maybe it's just that these Steeler teams are too soft now. They allow too much shit. They allow too much disrespect. They're not as physical. They're not the bullies that we were at times back in the 2000s and the 90s with James Harrison and Greg Lloyd and Joey Porter. I'm assuming that's what you're insinuating there. Kitka Serve 2965. They have 3 receivers that run sub 4.3 40-yard dashes, and they can't scheme any of them into space or getting them open anyway. That's a question I have too. I'm with you. Why aren't we doing? Correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't really see this too often, if at all. Why aren't we running I'm just thinking from a Madden standpoint. Sometimes this shit ain't that complicated. It's almost like, what would you run in Madden and what would have success? What would stress the defense out? Like a bunch formation with Calvin Austin, Roman Wilson, and DK Metcalf. Like a bunch formation with those 3, and maybe having Muth on the other side or Darnell on the other side, or maybe the bunch is with 2 speedy guys. It's Roman Wilson, Calvin Austin, Darnell, DK on the other side, Jalen Warren in the backfield. I don't know. There's got to be some way to do something like that. I feel like I would stress out a defense right there. You could send the speedy receivers either across the field or on a quick out route, like a zig route or something. Send Darnell up the middle. DK cross run. I think I just came up with an amazing play right there. I think that's a good play. Jalen Warren out the backfield on a little delay. I think I just came up with a good play. I actually want the Steelers to steal that play. They won't. T-Wo 4993. Water in a Grey Goose bottle is crazy. Keep donating to get Deke some cups. I actually have some red solos up here too. So this, you guys actually want the story for this Grey Goose? Fuck it, why not? We're an hour into this thing. This Grey Goose, see, you can't get this anymore. This is Grey Goose Cherry Noir. My friends for my 21st birthday got me Grey Goose Cherry Noir, and I loved it ever since. It became my favorite liquor. Mixed it with orange juice, mixed it with some lemonade. And at some point between then and now, it became discontinued. I want to say maybe 3, 4, 5 years ago, it became discontinued. I kind of forgot about it, I think, at some point. But I think I went to a Fine Wine and Good Spirits. So I'm like, I want that Grey Goose Cherry Noir. That'll bring back some memories. That'll bring back nostalgia. I didn't have it. I looked online. They don't have it anymore. I'm over at my cousin's house 2 weeks ago for a party, family party, and I'm chilling. I don't even think I had a drink all night. That's the other thing. One of you guys asked me about losing weight and, being healthy, looking healthy, all that shit. I mean, that's a part. I think I've tapered off my drinking a fair amount over the last 2-3 years. I mean, there's still a night or two you have a good time, right? But here and there. But yeah, I think that's been another thing. Because that night over my cousin, I don't even think I had a drink, but I was just like, all right. It was a couple hours in too. A couple hours into the party, a few hours in. I said, you know what? I'll go for some liquor. You have any liquor? They had light beer and stuff. I just wasn't too interested in it. And yeah, they're like, yeah, come check it out. They go up, Grey Goose Cherry Noir. I'm like, wait, how do you still have that? Like, what, like, that's my favorite liquor of all time, I think. And they're like, yeah, we just had this chilling here for a while. So they gave it to me, and it was probably, I want to say there was probably only a third of it left, maybe even less than that. But they gave it to me. I had a little bit of it that night, and then probably within the next week or two, finished the bottle off. So I wanted to keep the bottle. I just wanted to keep the bottle. I mean, it's just good reminiscing on it. So I throw some water in it now. There you go. There's the story. You can believe me or not believe me. I think that's too detailed of a story for it not to be true. Fat Boy Films 505. Y'all crazy. Tomlin not going nowhere. He will fire the DC. That might happen tomorrow. Yeah, that might happen tomorrow. I wouldn't. I'd be surprised. I wouldn't be totally shocked, given we fired Canada middle of the season. But if there is a change that could spark something, get people on their toes in the locker room, I think that would be it. That would be the most sensible one. Justin Gordon, 2293, 19, 10, 80, even 81 would thrive in other offense. I don't know about Johnny Smith, though, bro. I don't know about that. He did do well with the Dolphins last year. But that is a little bit of a unique setup with him having Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, taking a lot of attention away from him, and just the way he was utilized with McDaniel and Tua in that system. I think that's a little unique. I could be wrong though. Yeah, maybe if he went to McVay or Rams system or something, he was the number one tight end. Maybe he does. He probably does better than what he's doing here. I don't think he's not replicating what he did in Miami elsewhere. Maybe he'll give you 500-600 yards. I think his ceiling's capped at this stage of his career. I'm not seeing too much from him. That dude, Peavy, offense is terrible. Besides Warren, we have no explosion 2 years in a row. No wide receiver, too. Arthur had his worst game. We need a quarterback, wide receiver, cornerback, first 2 rounds. Yeah, you just listed off 3 positions, and I think we only have 1 pick in those first 2 rounds with the DK Metcalf trade. So that's pretty tough. That's tough luck right there. Yeah, quarterback, receiver, cornerback. For sure. For sure. Now, we are going to have some cap space. There's some cap flexibility here where we could overhaul the roster again in free agency. But we need to get some guys that are in their prime. And we tried that with Patrick Queen. That really hasn't worked out. But you get what I'm saying. Guys that almost like when T. Higgins was a free agent, or, that whole debacle with him and the Bengals. Is he getting franchise tag? Are they going to trade him? Was he going to get the new deal? Like if T. Higgins hit the market, that's a guy I'm paying 3-4 years, X amount of dollars. I don't want to get basically patchwork the thing like we have been doing. Jalen Ramsey, although Jalen Ramsey's been playing good this year, but you get my point. Jalen Ramsey, Patrick Peterson, Darius Slay, those type of guys. Aging veterans with a name for a 1-year deal, 2-year deal. You're hoping they could reclaim some of the glory, match them up in the Steeler uniform. It's going to hit better. It hasn't. It really hasn't. I think Jalen Ramsey played good this year, though. I do, ultimately. But our issues are far greater on defense that Ramsey's positive play doesn't really matter too much. Y'all think Aaron regrets not retiring? Because this doesn't feel much better than the Jets right now. This doesn't. That's what he wanted to do. He wanted to come back and prove that the Jets year was an outlier, was a flop. He still got it. First half of the year, it was looking good. It was looking like he was proving everyone wrong. But now, not good, especially with the injury. I don't know if he's getting better. You know what I mean? With the injury, the left wrist injury, and how the offense is presumably going to have to stay limited with him out there if he wants to keep playing. How's it getting better? Our receivers aren't getting better. We keep putting more and more tape out there of what plays we're running and how we like to run offenses, and it feels like defenses aren't really that concerned about it, but there's just more and more tape, more predictability, more of the same shit. How's it getting better? How's it getting better going forward? Whether it's Rodgers, whether it's Mason, whether it's Will Howard at quarterback. Don't have enough weapons. Management definitely did a disservice there by trading away Pickens, not replacing him with a solid number 2, quality number 2. And this is the result. We went tight end heavy. And that's the funny thing too. We went tight end heavy, and we're not even utilizing our best tight end to the degree we probably should in Darnell Washington. And we're not using Pat Freiermuth enough either. You can make that argument. He's our best receiving tight end. When's the last time he's got the ball at a high clip? Bengals game Thursday Night Football. I don't know. Maybe that's a formation you could do right there. Freiermuth, the 2 receivers in a bunch, or like on one side, DK on the other. That wouldn't be bad. 5 wide, Muth, Darnell, DK. We did do some 5 wide stuff, but I don't know. None of it really worked. I'm just spitballing here. I'm just in the lab trying to concoct something, trying to think of some way to improve this offense, improve this team. It's probably all for naught anyway. Axam Pugh says Tomlin is not. Thanks for the $9 too. Tomlin is not an X's and O's coach. Give him a whiteboard and you will get a speech. Cam cried all summer to be trash. Watt 41 million to be slow and trash. Why bring in a new OC in DC just to keep Tomlin a sitting duck? Yeah, like I think you got to change everything. I really do. If it's either 9-8, 10-7, bounce from playoffs, same fashion, clear that we're not contenders by the end of all this. It's time. It was time last year, but this would just be another example, another reason for it to be time this year. Or we lose out. I think the answer's more clear and obvious than ever to get rid of Tomlin. Like those are the 2 scenarios where you have to move on. You absolutely have to move on. Have to. We go on a run, different story. Sure, we went out 11-6, won a couple playoff games. We feel like we're in it. We lose if we lose in the AFC Championship in close fashion or something like that. Then maybe you're saying, all right, we run it back because that was an admirable way to finish the season. Something was different this year than the last decade. At least you could point to that as a reason to keep Tomlin around, right? Anything else, it's time to move on. You just have to. Have to. There's no hope for a ceiling. There's no hope for anything different at this point. There isn't. No reason for a Steelers team under Tomlin to perform any different, it feels like, right? Because if you keep Tomlin, new OC, new DC, how much faith do you have in us developing one of these quarterbacks coming up? You saw what happened with Pickett. You saw what happened with Mason. You saw what happened with Fields even. Young quarterback we're 4-2 with, has all the upside in the world. We sit him for Russ. And then Russ starts fading towards the end of last year. And we're literally putting in Fields in like packages and like having him lead drives. And you feel like the offense has more of a spark, but then we keep putting Russ back out there. And the offense gets more and more limited as time goes on with Russ being our starter. Like, do we know what the hell we're doing on offense is what I'm saying. Do we have any faith with Tomlin and definitely the current coaching staff, but even if it's Tomlin with new OCs, DC, whatever it is, do we have faith that we're going to get the most out of whatever quarterback that we draft? Jacob says run Gainwell well at the slot. Screw it. Yeah, I mean, he is a decent pass catcher. And you heard Romo keep bringing up that Gainwell is our second best pass catcher on this team this year, which is sad, which is good for Gainwell. It's respect to Gainwell, but it's sad. It's sad that that's what our offense is. Like, that's not good. And it's not like Kenneth Gainwell is Alvin Kamara or something either, right? Or Jahmyr Gibbs. Child of the Corn, 7244. Steelers haven't been feared in a decade. Sad. I think you can argue some of those killer B years because of the offense. But as I mentioned earlier, as you look back, as we see the story continue to play out, it's like, were we ever really contenders? Were we ever really on that level? Think of the defenses that we had at those times and how we operated. It's like, I don't know. I think you were because you have when you have Ben, you have a chance. When you have Ben, you have an AB, you always got a chance. But you need the defense to play better than what it did in that killer B era to really win. Because, geez, oh man, who are some of the guys we were trotting out there in playoff games? Like Cockrell and Sensabaugh as our cornerbacks, Mike Mitchell, an injured Mike Mitchell at safety, getting cooked by Dennis Pitta in the Ravens playoff game. A cool name, too. How they get beat by the same run play 17 times. It did feel that way. Yes. Yes. Just not good enough. No Derek Harmon, I guess. Derek Harmon's good. He can't mean that much. If he means that much to your team, then your schemes are fucked up. Which isn't really a surprise statement, which isn't really much of a hot take. Because that's been a concern. That's been on the table for a while as well. Even with Derek Harmon being out there. Am I missing any of these comments? Let me see. Let me see if we got any more paid comments here. Here we go. Shannon Cassidy, 4423. Only a select few on the team has heart deflated. Yeah, Jaylen Warren. Who would you say? Like Jaylen Warren, Peyton Wilson, Jalen Ramsey, I'd say. I don't know. I don't know outside of them. There's probably some names I'm missing. I don't want to be putting everyone on, but I think there's probably those guys stick out though to me. Jaylen Warren always. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, again, actually, forget what I said at the beginning. Everyone should be on the table. Clean house. Jaylen Warren is still one of, if not the only guy I would keep on this team. He would be the veteran leader in the new locker room for the new era. Jaylen Warren. No, he doesn't say much. He's quiet, but he definitely leads by example. Child of the Corn 7244. Trading for Kyler Murray, a no or a yes? Oh my. I'm saying no right now, knee-jerk reaction, because I'm just like, what does that really do for us? Is that just more 9-8, 10-7, enough to be relevant? Because he's, when he's healthy, I don't even know now. Quarterback play is getting better and better, I feel like. The floor has raised for quarterback play in this league. I was going to say he's like a top 15 quarterback, top 15, top 20 quarterback when healthy. But is he that? I don't even know. He's probably that range. Smaller quarterbacks too, with him losing some of his athletic ability as time goes on. They don't necessarily age out the best. See it with Tua down in Miami. I don't think Tua is that good. I've never thought Tua is that good. Russ. Yeah, I would say no right now. But if it was for cheap, if it's one of those things, if it's for cheap and say we got Kingsbury as our head coach and we wanted a bridge quarterback in between, basically, yeah, a bridge quarterback for Kingsbury for 2026 to have the rookie quarterback chill on the bench a little bit, learn something like that. That wouldn't be the worst of things. If it was cheap, we're not paying Kyler Murray that much. I could see that. If you matched him with a certain offensive coordinator, maybe you can make the case. And if you're not giving up too much to get him, but there's something to be said for if you're not giving up too much to get him. It's like you get what you pay for at times. Jay Moret 7418 says trade for JJ McCarthy. I don't know about that. I thought JJ was gonna be better than what he is. That's a tough one. Maybe there is hope for him, just like some of these other first-round quarterbacks that get bounced around. They have bad luck, bad tape out there in their first start, and then they go to another team, fresh start. You see it with Darnold. You saw it with Geno Smith with Seattle, not as much so with the Raiders. Mac Jones with the Niners. There's a bunch of examples we could bring up. Daniel Jones, Colts, that type of thing. John Easton should have won a Super Bowl in 15 the year Fitz fumbled. Yeah. I think was that defense was a little bit better, right? We had Shazier. I'm with you there. Yeah. That was a weird year too, because we got double decimated at running back in those playoffs because Bell was out, D'Angelo was out, and then AB was out for that Broncos game. And it was just Martavis. Ben was cooking that no-fly zone defense on the road with a freaking hampered shoulder. Goes off for over 300 yards with just Martavis. And we're up. We're up with the ball in Denver zone. We just need to kick a field goal. And, 2 swamp fumbles. I was thinking JPJ too. Jacob QF says JPJ still got that dog in him. I think JPJ is not a bad name to bring up too. I'm with you there. A cool name, O2 says this team wasn't serious from the start. No wide receiver too. If that was your take before the season, you're definitely right. I was cool with seeing what we had and the personnel that we got on offense with the tight ends and the young receivers. You're hoping that ascend with Calvin Austin, Roman Wilson, along with DK. I was cool with seeing what that looked like early in the season, but it became clear, at least before the trade deadline, as we got closer and closer to the trade deadline and more tape was out there, more body of work was out there. We needed another receiver. We needed to make a trade for a receiver if we wanted to be serious, and we didn't. We did not. Now, was the asking price too high for some of these guys that we were talking about? Maybe. We don't know all the behind-the-scenes stuff. But I do know Rashid Shaheed and Jacoby Myers got traded for cheap, and I think we offered up something similar. We could have went out of our way to just offer up that extra pick or that, that surplus in the draft, but whatever it was, to make sure it happened here in Pittsburgh. Wouldn't have hurt. But, yeah, getting rid of Pickens and having no plan, that's definitely a black spot on Omar Khan and Steelers management, for sure. There's been good moments. We've had good signings. Call him the con artist. This one's looking bad. It is. Now, who's that on? That's the other thing. With Tomlin being here, he's been here 18 years, 19 years. Tomlin has pull. He has a certain say on what players we get. Omar Khan makes the transactions happen. He tries to get them most beneficial to the Steelers in terms of value and all that stuff. But I think Tomlin does have a large say as to who's in and out of here. Don't think it's a coincidence we got Rodgers this offseason. Don't think it's a coincidence we got a Darius Slay. I think those were Tomlin-approved type of moves. And I think you'd have to say the same thing about George Pickens. Like, was Omar Khan the one going out of his way and shopping him rogue and doing his own thing? And then comes to Tomlin later. Oh, hey, we just traded Pickens. No, I'm sure they're having calm, but Tomlin's like, it's time. Like, let's make a move, see what the best deal you can get. What is this? Hold on. I can't even pull this up. I got a report here from one of you guys. Man, shout out to everyone in the chat, man. I thank you for everyone sticking around. I'll keep going as long as we get comments in and we got the engagement, the conversation. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything here. Let me go back a few of these chats. I don't think I did. I think I'm good. So there's a few that just popped up though. So we're gonna go down the line with those. Al Sauce 87 says reports and thanks for the $5. Thanks for all the paid chats too. If I forget to say thank you individually, I just want to throw that out there. It is appreciated. That I hope that's a given. Reports are JPJ and Ramsey were showered and left the stadium before media were allowed in the locker room. as I said with Pickens not being here, we shipped off Pickens because of locker room issues, team chemistry, bad vibes, all that shit, drama. I mean, we're at that point anyway without Pickens, so we should have just kept Pickens. We should have just kept Pickens because this is one of those examples. Yeah, obviously something's off in the locker room. Players aren't happy. Vibes are down. Ryan Maximilian 5515. What do you think? Sign Duck Hodges for $50 million. I wish I had a joke off the top of my head to say to that. I don't have anything though, because this obviously this isn't a serious comment. I wish I had something good to reply back to for that. Sorry. Raymond Kane 819 with the 20 spot. Thank you, bro. Andrew Jackson. What do you think Josh Allen said to Canada making crash out like that? I love Tomlin as a person. I was a huge defender of his this year, but it's time to blow it up. Build around Howard since no quarterback prospect stands out as number one. I don't know if you just give the keys to Howard like that. You maybe draft someone. I'm not even saying necessarily first round, maybe third round, because this quarterback class doesn't have me too excited. I'm with you. Yeah, if the season ends the way we expect it to, either losing out or 9-8, 10-7, that type of thing, it's time to blow it up. It's time to get rid of Tomlin, coaching staff. I think get rid of a lot of players that have been here under the Tomlin regime. Get rid of these one and done type of players, these veteran players that we're bringing in. We need to clean house. You're keeping a few players. Maybe it is a JPJ. Maybe it is a Peyton Wilson on offense. Definitely Jalen Warren. Some of the young offensive line. Fautanu. You're probably having conversations about keeping Broderick with the 5th-year option. Like, that's legit. He played better this year. Frazier, McCormick. I'd be fine getting rid of DK. I'd be just cleaning house all around, man. Completely fine with it. Completely fine with it. Have the expectations low going into next year. Rebuild. This might be true. If Rodgers continues, we will not be 500. It might be true because how is he getting healthier? How is the offense going to be more dynamic if we're just running pistols and shotguns and the shit that we were doing tonight? And with the weapons that we have. Yeah, that might be it. That might be the ticket. If you want to lose games, maybe we keep Rodgers out there. Not happy. Well, yeah, I do think Rodgers is going to be out there. I was going to say we're not benching Rodgers, so I do think Rodgers will stay out there if him and Tomlin are still on the same page with him playing. And respect to Rodgers for playing. I said this at the beginning. Respect, like, something to be said for that, man. That's leadership. He showed me something by getting out there and wanting to get out there last week against the Bears with more fractures in his wrist than was initially reported, more major of an injury than we thought. Still wanted to get out there, took the big hit, bloody nose, still finished out the second half. Like, there's something to be said for that. It's just not really doing much for us. It's not. You can make the argument that Mason or Howard would be better. I could see that not happening though as well because of just what our offensive system's like. It's just, I don't think it's good all around for any quarterback that we throw out there. I don't think the structure that we have is that optimal, unfortunately. His nose may be broken. You want to stick Rodgers back out there. Rodgers went out there with the broken nose. He was the one that went out there. Big Ben went out there with a broken nose before. Just throw the visor on. It's doable. That's probably easier to do than with the broken wrist. Ryan Maximilian 5515. Appreciate the chat, bro. Says chance if Tomlin leaves, Cowher comes back. 0. There's no way. He got too comfortable with the TV gig. He's been doing that we're on 20 years with that now almost, right? Because he left after 07 season. We went 8-8 after the Super Bowl. 07 season he left. So that's what, like 18 years. Oh, yeah. However long Tomlin's been here. That's how long Cowher's been doing the CBS job. I'm trying to do all this math in my head. It's literally just been however long Tomlin's been here. That's when Cowher's been doing the broadcasting. He's comfortable with that, bro. He would have done it by now, come back into coaching if he really wanted to. But, if it's the Steelers, maybe, he's got a soft spot for the Steelers. Maybe you could say that from here. Obviously, coached the Steelers, Super Bowl champ, Hall of Famer. Nah, dude. Once you get the Hall of Fame jacket and all that shit, you're not going back. You're not. Has anyone done that as a coach? Hall of Fame and then went back? The only name I would think of off the top of my head would be Parcells, but I don't know if he had long enough of a stretch in between coaching jobs to make the Hall of Fame in that time. I know he's a Hall of Famer. It would have, I guess it would have been before the Cowboys job. But again, I don't think it was that long of a stretch between. What was his last job before the Cowboys? Was it Patriots? I don't think it was that long of a stretch. Maybe it might have been the Jets. I can't remember. They got a whole documentary. That documentary is actually pretty good. The Belichick Parcells documentary. I really like that. Joe Gibbs. Oh, okay. You said Joe Gibbs as an actual answer. I think you might be right. Yeah. Coach Washington in the 80s, success, Super Bowls, and then came back. Is that with like Clinton Portis? Like those teams? I think you're right. That's a good call. That's a real good call. Shy Guy Fly. I hate to say it. I don't think we're a destination a lot of innovative coordinators want to be. Not with Tomlin overseeing it. No. If Tomlin's got his hands on it, if Tomlin's handicapping what we can do from an explosive and innovative standpoint, then why would you? For sure. And it seems that way at times. It definitely does. Now, if Tomlin came back, I could see this happening. And like Rooney said, we're bringing in new coordinators, and they're just running the show on their sides of the ball. Then maybe that becomes something attractive for an offensive guru or a defensive guy. If they could just run shit and Tomlin's the overseer like he was whenever he first started coaching with Dick LeBeau and Bruce Arians, maybe that could happen with Tomlin still being here. I'm hard. It's if you get to that point, it's just time for a complete overhaul and Tomlin not to be here anymore. If you're having those type of conversations, it's just time to move on from Tomlin, right? You can't do the babysitting type of thing, and Rooney coming to Tomlin and say like, okay, you're gonna lose like a ton of your responsibility, but you could still stay here, oversee it. We're bringing in a new OC and DC, and they're gonna run shit how they want to run it, but you're just here. It's just time. It's just you don't do that to a guy that's been here for 18 years. 19 years, whatever, however long Tomlin's been here. It's just time for a fresh start. It's just time to break ties from Tomlin. You're skirting around the issue. You're doing way too much for it to not just be the simple move off of Tomlin decision, The Pirates have cursed the city. Is it the Pirates? I don't know if is it the Pirates? I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. Penguins are kind of up right now. At least they're a little bit of a silver lining, but still been bleak. The last couple of years, Pittsburgh sports have been awful. Pitt hoops at a low. Pitt football can't really get over the hump. Yeah, last year was bad for Pitt football. This year, it actually a solid season, 8-4, but bad losses, really bad losses. 2 at the beginning of the year, backyard brawl in Louisville, or shouldn't have lost. We should have been 10-2. Like I get that we lost to Notre Dame, we lost to Miami, we were outclassed, but the other backyard brawl in Louisville, we should have won. And 10-2, that's a good season for Pitt. Even 8-4 is not bad. Steelers, same shit every year. Pirates, we know what the Pirates are. And then Penguins, Haven't made the playoffs in the last like 3 or 4 years. Now they're looking a little bit up, but still, it's bad. If we're talking about the Penguins, like kind of being decent in a year that they were supposed to tank, that's not good. You don't have much to hang your hat on in sports for your city if that's all you got right now, and that feels like that's all we got in Pittsburgh. At this rate, yeah, at this rate, we haven't seen the Ravens this year. Last time we saw Henry, we know what that looked like. Yeah. No Derek Harmon. Elmer Deke's hat will be incorrect after this season. That might be for the best for the franchise if that's the case. It might be for the best. I'm not rooting for it, at least for my business, at least for the hat business. Because if we could go 9-8, 8-1, then these hats will last for another season at least. These hats will still be relevant. These hats will still have some cachet to them, we'll say. So I actually need, for my own personal interest, I'm sorry, I kind of need 9-8. But that would 9-8 and playoff loss, 9-8 missing the playoffs is probably worse for the franchise, unfortunately. Best for my business, best for the hat business. Yeah, this is a good point too. Chris Arkwright says you can still wear the hat ironically. Right. Because at least I made the hats while we're still in the midst of being non-losing season champions. While it was still an accurate statement. At least that's when I made them. Because it's a dope hat. I'm not even like, this is a dope hat, bro. It is. Like, I think it's some drip, bro. Can wear it with anything. It's subtle. You might be right here. Barry Tingman, 9-8, wins the division. And that might get us a home playoff game. You're right. 8-9 even might win the division. If we beat the Ravens 2 times, they're 6-6, and they lose another game, that wins the division. Actually, that wouldn't be too far of a stretch. Buccaneers won their division at 8-9, Brady's last year. Seahawks back with Marshawn Lynch. They won at like 7-9, I think. Yeah, that was when we were doing 16 games. So that's why I'm not expecting like major overhaul at quarterback. Maybe you get Terrell Austin fired, but I'm not expecting much else different. Maybe we call up MVS, but again, that's not like a major overhaul or anything. Asante Samuel Jr. had his first game today, a little bit out of necessity because of James Pierre going out, so he was out there a little bit. Yeah, with us being 6-6 though, and we could still win the division, it's like I think we're just gonna stick to the grind, man. Like, okay, just we'll tough it out next week. It'll be better next week. It's gonna be better for these last 5 games. We just stick to it, work harder, execute better schemes. Same shit we've been hearing. I think that's gonna be the same message from Tomlin and the same message in this Steelers locker room going forward. And you see where that has gone us. But it actually might get us a division this year. But what does that really mean when it's all said and done? What's that really going to mean? If we win the division 9-8, 8-9, and we get housed in the playoffs, it means nothing. Absolutely nothing. All right, guys. I think I'm out of here, man. I think I'm out of here. I don't know if I got much else for you. Unless someone wants to drop another paid comment. Paid comment. Something along the lines of like $100, $50. That wouldn't be bad. Oh, okay. This ain't a bad name. Hold on. Jesse Minter. One of you guys said him. This wouldn't be a bad name. I would throw him in the mix. Luke Welsh, Jesse Minter for head coach. He's a proven DC, almost like Mike McDaniel. Or what's his name? Is it Mike McDaniel? Whoever the Seahawks coach is. Mike McDaniel, that's Dolphins head coach. What's the dude? Is it Matt McDonald? McDonald. I'm sorry. McDonald for the Seahawks. Yeah, that was his whole thing. And he basically did what I'm saying we do if we bring in a Minter or if we bring in a Flores. Defensive head coach, but you get a guy on offense that's under like the Shanahan McVay tree and have them just run the show. And that's what essentially Seahawks do with McDonald and then Kubiak on offense with Darnold. So if we had something set up like that, I'm for it. I'd definitely be for it. We're closing in. No way, Deke doing a 2-hour live. We're closing in. It's for you guys. I mean, you guys are here still. I mean, I'm not gonna go against the wave. That's the wave. People are still here chatting it up, talking ball, talking shop. I'm gonna stay here. It's getting close though. I got 20 more minutes. I did just say I'm about to close it out, but you guys are bringing up some good topics, good points here. Even the non-paid ones, we're still looking for that paid one. Maybe that could keep me around a little bit longer, for sure. Oh, Jay Quest says Tomlin chants were loud at the game today. I did see that there were Tomlin chants. I didn't know how loud they were. If they were just in like little pockets, was it the whole stadium? Like, was it loud enough? Players were hearing it. Tomlin chants and booing Renegade took place today. Can't say I'm like that against it. Yeah, it's funny. Knight Rider 16, first year making non-losing season championship hats, and we might not win the championship this year. We might not win the non-losing season championship. That'd be crazy. We've been consistent champions for a minute. It's our specialty. You know what? I did say clean house, and that even means Danny Smith. I'm sorry. He gets taken out too. I'm sorry. It's just time. It's time. Everyone loves Danny Smith. He's all cute with the bubble gum and stuff. He's been the special teams coach for how long? It's time to clean house. I don't care. He gets the stray too. Get him out of here. Whole stadium, really? Oh, interesting. I'm sure there'll be more reports. I'm sure there's videos on it. I have to check Twitter or something. That Rodgers thing's interesting. The question to Rodgers about if Tomlin's the reason we're losing. I'm gonna be curious to see how he answered that. I gotta check that out tonight. Probably respond to it tomorrow in a video. And then the Jalen Ramsey, Joey Porter Jr. leaving the locker room before the media even got there. That's another thing. There you go. Steelers TMZ right there. Steelers drama. Good stat. Vaughn Pitt. TJ made $2.4 million today. Bruce Arians return. I think he's like Cowher. He's enjoying retirement. He's fine. Got that Super Bowl with Tampa. He might make the Hall of Fame, huh? He should make the Hall of Fame. The crazy part about that's honestly, it's one of those things. As I was saying earlier about looking back, in the moment, you just feel like, oh, on to next year or like on the next game. Because we had been like, there was a certain amount of success we were having. And you just felt like, oh, on to next year. On to next year. We're not in trouble. Like, we're not in like a purgatory. We're not in a spot where we're not going to be able to reach a Super Bowl ceiling. We got Ben like on next year. We could compete with any of these teams, right? What's funny is you look back, us getting rid of Bruce Arians. We want to get rid. He was Ben's guy, but we wanted to get a new offensive style that would suit Ben better, at least for his health, and he wouldn't be taking as many shots. And I think the way it was worded at the time was Bruce Arians is retiring, but then Chuck Pagano gets cancer, and Arians was doing something was he an advisor or something with the Colts? And then he becomes their head coach during that time Pagano had to miss. And he goes on a run. I think he wins Coach of the Year, Andrew Luck's rookie year. And then he ends up being the head coach with the Cardinals and has some really good stints with them there with Carson Palmer. Goes to the Bucs and like just becomes like a really good head coach. While we're thinking, oh, he's like, in a way, we kind of forced him out. He was arguably between him and Dick LeBeau. Like they were awesome coaches for us. I was gonna say arguably the best coach on that roster. But him and Dick LeBeau, I mean, maybe as you see how it played out with Arians, maybe he was the best head coach or just best coach, period, on that coaching staff. I said roster, but coaching staff. When it was Arians, Tomlin, Dick LeBeau, because Dick LeBeau, obviously amazing defensive mind, amazing defensive coordinator. He never really did it as a head coach. There was a reason we got him back as the DC. But for Arians, I think he won like 2-time Coach of the Year. Had that little year with the Colts, year or two with the Colts. Cardinals, resurrects Palmer's career out there. Goes on a run where they were like legit NFC competitors for a good like 2-3 year stretch. He goes to Tampa Bay, wins the Super Bowl with Brady. I mean, but I'm just saying, looking back, it's like, why did we get rid of like a quality coach? We did bring in Haley. I did like Haley. I'm not even gonna front. I did like Haley. I like that move to bring in Haley, but it's like, why were we so in a rush? Why were we so like fast to get rid of Bruce Arians like that? Or just okay with getting rid of Bruce Arians like that? Dude, that's a quality head coach. And it's kind of the same thing happened with Dick LeBeau in a way. Now the defense got old with Dick LeBeau, but he obviously still had some years. He went to go coach for the Titans for a couple years. I don't think he really did that amazing or anything, but we promoted Keith Butler. It's like we saw how that worked. Coaching staff. We go from Tomlin, Arians, Dick LeBeau to Tomlin, Keith Butler, Haley. Haley was a good. I did like Haley. I'm not even gonna front, but then we move on from Haley. Part of that might have been the Ben dynamic, but Finkner with Ben for a year or two actually wasn't bad. And then Ben gets hurt. We have Finkner with Mason and Duck. Things started to go downhill there. And I think we fired Finkner after the 2020 season when we went 11-0. We started fading down the stretch. I think that was more offensive line. Offensive line got worse. Because there were still some games we were putting up touchdowns. Like that Colts game at the end of the season. I remember that. I'm probably reminiscing way too much. I don't even know if you guys are following along. Colts game, end of 2020 season. We've been through for like 4 touchdowns in the second half. It's like everyone was complaining about that because the offense was getting off to slow starts, but then Ben would save our ass in the second half. And that was with Finkner. That wasn't even with Canada. We know Ben was doing that with Canada as well. Everyone was complaining about Ben. It's like, there might be more issues to this team. There might be a lot more issues. When you got a dude that could just throw for 4 touchdowns in the second half like that and come back, maybe he's not the problem. Maybe he's not the major issue with the squad. Well, wasn't he ended up being a head coach though. He just took a higher paying job, a bigger role, being the head coach of the Cardinals. I don't think that wasn't us moving off of Wisenhunt. That was after we won the Super Bowl. And then I think Cowher came back. Was that right? I don't think Wisenhunt was here for another year under Cowher. I might be getting my years mixed up a little bit, but it's close enough in that range. Oh man, this one's a comment, huh? No, not this year. Up to this year, yes. Not this year. Not this year, and going forward, that's going to be a tough debate. Yeah, definitely a tough debate. How many sacks did he get this game or for this week? Because he has 18 already. Like, he's on pace to shatter the record. Unfortunately, he got an extra one, so he's at 19 right now. 5 games left. What does he need? 22 and a half. Luke Welsh, thanks for the comment. Thanks for the money. Minter has the University of Cincinnati connection to Tomlin. Perfect person to pass the baton. Bobby Slowick as OC. What's Bobby Slowick doing now? That I thought he got fired from the Texans. He was one of those guys after C.J. Stroud's rookie year. He was being talked about as a head coach, a guru, and all that shit. And he got fired. I don't know where he's at right now. Yeah, this is what I'm thinking too. El Moranis, bringing someone young and hungry, no retreads. That's what I'm thinking. Someone that may have a better pulse on what the NFL is in 2025. And that could still be a defensive guy. As I mentioned with Flores or even like a Minter, you see that type of success happening still with a Mike McDonald up in Seattle. You just got to be in touch with where the league is right now. Know who to hire on offense, know how you want the game flow to go. That type of shit. I don't know. Like this year, yeah, if we fire Terrell Austin, bring in Rex Ryan right now, sure. Have a huge shakeup, really ruffle some feathers. But going forward, he's doing the media stuff. He's up there in age. I don't know. Been out of the game for a little bit. I do like Rex Ryan as a DC, though, as a defensive coach. Absolutely. Oof. I don't know about as a head coach. I like him as a DC. I don't know about a head coach. Like if we got an offensive head coach, I would like Jim Schwartz for DC. Absolutely. Yeah, maybe try to pay him a little bit more. Steelers, still an upgrade over Cleveland. As much as we shit on the Steelers right now, still an upgrade over Cleveland at least. It would be a better offer, I think, for Schwartz and his career. All right, guys. I think this is it. 10 minutes. We're at 150. 10 minutes left before the hour. I think it might be time to log off. That is another one. John. I'll just say John came in late, but not sure if you mentioned Munchak leaving too, because I was just going over good quality head coaches we've let leave the building. I guess Brian Flores is another one. Honestly, yeah, Brian Flores, Munchak leaving. I think that was something to do with his family. He wanted to move to get closer to his family. He joined the Broncos staff. I don't know if there was much we could have done about that. All right, man. We got Matt Ernst 7 says, let the hate wash over you. So good all in, man. Where's the hate coming from? Who's just the general Steeler fan hate towards the state of affairs? Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm frustrated too. I'm kind of at that point. Kind of am. I mean, you've heard all my takes today. And how they've been trending. Yeah, it's just bad. It's bad. Yeah, no clue. Cal Jr. in 2002. What did Allen do to piss Cam Hayward off so much? I don't know. Probably just threw a touchdown. Made a nice play. Because that's what happened. All right, this is it. I think this is it. I think I'm logging off. Shout out to everyone that was here in the chat. Shout out to everyone. Yeah, this was a great show. Like it was a good show in terms of vibes, engagement, chat, conversation, all that shit. But not the best circumstances surrounding the show, or the reason for the show isn't the best, obviously. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'll definitely have to check into some of these post-game interviews. We'll make a show out of it. I'm sure I'll have some reactions and some thoughts about it, and you guys will too. So tune in. If you want your non-losing season champions hat, link is in the description, I think. If not, it's just Deek/merch. Or hold on, I'll post it in the comments here. I don't think this hyperlinks it. It should. I mean, it's freaking, 2025 on the internet. I feel like that should be a hyperlink if you type that out. But if you want non-losing season champion sets, that's the link. And the caveat is it's not going to be the exact hat I have, trucker. So if you want to wait till I get the sample for these hats, haven't got the sample for these hats just yet. If you want to wait, should be getting them early this week, and I'll showcase them on the show. If not, if you just want the hat ordered, you don't really care about the exact little intricacies of the hat and all those details. You just want it to say freaking non-losing season champions on it. Have at it. Stay chilling. There we go, Steelers. Peace.